On Valentine's Day, my mom gave me the contact info of a blind date and told me he's a big star named Simon. I couldn't help but laugh, thinking it was a scam. Besides, just last month, my influencer roommate bragged about being Simon's secret girlfriend. Later, I chatted with the scammer using some anti-fraud tips I found online for about a month, and then he suggested meeting up. I laughed and hired a buff guy for $200 to meet him. I planned to say, the person you've been chatting with all this time is actually this guy. Valentine's Day also happens to be my birthday. My mom gave me the contact info of someone claiming to be a red-hot star, Simon. I was dumbfounded, feeling like the lights above were flickering and my forehead was throbbing. After I started grad school, my mom got really into setting me up on blind dates. It was always the weirdest people, and she paid quite a bit to the matchmaker. I quickly typed to ask how much she got scammed for this time. But Mom was mad. She called me up and started yelling. Simon is your Aunt Mary's son. When you were 8, I was busy with work, and you stayed at Aunt Mary's place for 3 months. You wouldn't even leave Simon back then. If we hadn't moved away, you would remember. Who remembers stuff from when they were 8? I was baffled and more convinced my mom would do anything to set me up. Just as my roommate Nancy came in, my mom insisted I connect with him. I said okay, brushing it off. Helen, another setup, huh? Nancy chuckled, dropping onto the couch. She wore a pretty white dress, looking all sweet and pure. Just listen to your mom, settle down. Not everyone can find someone like Simon. There she goes again. I was a bit speechless. After starting grad school, I rented a place off campus with Nancy. At first, we got along. Later, Nancy got into live streaming, signed with a company, and became a small-time internet celeb, and it totally went to her head. My lab notes got all doodled on. She said it was for practicing signatures. When my friend came over drenched from the rain, she just sneered, Helen, how can you be friends with someone so ugly and scruffy? She even dumped our chore schedule on me while she kicked back painting her nails. Like, 10 people asked for my autograph and selfies today. You have no idea how exhausting it is being me. We had a huge fight, and I decided to move out, but got held up because of the lease. Then she started dating a rich guy, got even more obnoxious with her roses and limo rides, and looked down on everyone. When I asked about her boyfriend, all I got was a smirk and silence. Until last month, she couldn't resist bragging. She was Simon's secret girlfriend. Who's Simon? A child star, now an acting and looks legend, a multi-award-winning blockbuster actor with 0 scandals. And he's only 25. I met him at a brand event, we exchanged numbers, and things just happened. She even showed me some tabloid photos of a mystery girl with Simon, taken by paparazzi. She claimed, that's me. You could tell, right? The girl's face was hidden, but she did resemble Nancy from the back. Nancy even showed me their chat logs and Simon's voice messages. His recent Facebook posts were filled with secretive nods to her. This made me more sure that the contact info from my mom wasn't Simon. A phone alert snapped me back to the present. It was a message on Nancy's phone. Simon's here to pick me up. Nancy grabbed her bag, blushing. I won't be back tonight, she said with a smirk. From the balcony, I watched Nancy climb into a Rolls-Royce Phantom. When the window rolled up, I caught a glimpse of a man's blurred profile. Just as I was trying to see clearer, I received a friend request. It was that Simon who was supposed to be the scammer from my mom. After accepting, we both sat silent for 10 minutes. It was my first time knowingly chatting with a scam artist, so I had no idea what to say. He was probably hunting for his way in. Sure enough, he messaged, I never forgot those childhood days. First anti-scam rule, go with the flow. Yeah, me neither. Total lie. I forgot everything from before I was 10. He went quiet. Do you believe I'm Simon? Sure, I replied. He paused again, like I had just said something unbelievable. Don't you need a photo, voice message, or video to confirm? I laughed out loud. This scammer's really low level. But in a kind of silly way. When I planned to just expose him and block, weirdly, I didn't feel like it anymore. How about sending me a photo of you now? There was a sense of relief from the other side, and 2 minutes later, he sent a hotel selfie. In the picture, he wore a loose robe, revealing his chiseled chest and abs, with wet hair dripping down. His face was expressionless, though that wasn't the main point. The angle was weird, from below. Despite the angle, he looked ridiculously handsome, which sadly added an odd charm. He even prepared such photos beforehand, making him quite the professional scammer. I stared blankly, instinctively touching my lips. Maybe it was tears. Seeing I wasn't responding for a while, he asked, "So, how do you think?" Weirdly, I sensed nervousness and shyness in those 3 words. Feeling uneasy myself, I let words spill without filter. "How'd you grow up to be like that? Exactly you what imagined. Beauty in the world, your face alone achieved it. Stop overflowing with charm, you walking charisma bomb. Praise is my specialty." A message popped up on the screen. The person on the other side sent me 1,314. Before I could even process it, my hand had already accepted the payment and sent a thanks boss gif. Late at night, my heart was pounding, excited about the money. Wow, this scammer is really going all in. Do you send money whenever someone compliments you? Only you. He seemed to be typing, deleting, and retyping a lot, trying hard to flirt. "If you like it, I can send you pictures often." I suddenly found teasing this scammer amusing. What's the point of pictures? Why not come and let me touch? I want those nights of ups and downs with you, want to measure your waist with my legs. I only want to be your elevator because only you can go in and out, up and down, in my world. The screen kept showing the other person is typing. This scammer probably didn't expect to meet a woman as bold as me. I thought he'd change the subject, but instead, he said, "Helen, only couples can do that kind of thing." Huh? Seeing if I'd take the bait? "Actually, we met once 6 months ago. I recognized you, but you might not remember me." He continued typing, but I was tired of his nonsense and got straight to the point. "Do you have a girlfriend now?" "No." He replied super fast. I'd been busy with studies and acting for years, never thought about anything else. Was he trying to prove his loyalty? I chuckled, catching him off guard. "Then let's date." As expected, there was a long silence on the other end. I got impatient waiting, went to shower, and when I returned, he had sent a long message. "Helen, I'm not rejecting you. I just think you need to think it over seriously. We haven't officially met, and your memories of me might be blurred childhood ones, mixed with what you see on screens, Facebook, and entertainment news. That's me but also not fully me. I hope we can take time to understand each other more, instead of rushing into something unprepared." Oh. I dried my hair with a towel and said, "Then let's just be friends, then." Another silence followed. It felt like he was regretting something. Then he unsent his long message. I kindly gave the scammer an out, since neither of us has forgotten each other, and you fell for me at first sight 6 months ago. If we're meant to be together, why not start now? The scammer replied with an emoji agreeing. No shame at all about getting played. So. Today is my birthday and also the first day I've moved on from being single since birth. I took it to the next level, posting on Facebook that I was no longer single, then sent the screenshot to the scammer. Scammer, sorry Helen, I can't use my main account for Facebook right now, but I can announce it on my side account. Only my manager and I know about it. Then I saw someone repost my Facebook post. Out of millions, I am fortunate to reunite with you, looking forward to our journey together. The scammer's side account was called Across a River. Seemed to have been registered 6 months ago. I stared at the screen for a few seconds, then messaged the scammer, so now we're officially a couple. Scammer, yep. We can do what couples do now. The scammer started typing and deleting again, then sent a GIF asking what I want to do with him. I found the GIF unexpectedly cute and saved it. The doorbell suddenly rang. A local delivery brought a package, inside was a pair of black velvet high heels. It's an Italian brand I saw in a magazine, pretty pricey. Wait, I think I tried them on at the store 6 months ago. The scammer called right then. Like the shoes? That familiar deep, magnetic voice came through, like it was right next to my ear. Helen, happy birthday. My breathing got slow and heavy. Are voice changers that realistic now? Could he really be Simon, and Nancy's the one scamming me? I suddenly wanted to push further. Let's video chat. He hesitated, then said sure. He laughed slightly. Helen, if possible, I'd rather see you in person. Then you can measure my waist, ride the elevator, anything you want. Dang. The scammer's getting good. I covered my flushed face, slightly annoyed to admit I might actually be hooked by a scammer. I hung up and initiated a video chat. As I waited for those few seconds, my heart raced. Then I saw him decline the request. Helen, I'm busy right now. The director just came to discuss script changes. Let's video chat next time, okay? My heart rate returned to normal as I saw through his weak excuse. Sure, maybe another time. These days, I've been playing the role of a girl in love, sharing everything with the scammer. He calls each night, gently and patiently helping me fall asleep, staying on the line all night. When I wake up and see the 8 to 9 hour call duration, I get a bit dazed. It all started as a way to practice those online tricks on scammers, and now somehow, it feels like I'm really in a relationship. It's honestly a bit terrifying. Lately, the scammer seems super busy, usually only replying at night. Helen, I'm filming a charity short film these days. My phone's with my assistant. Text me if anything comes up, I'll reply at night. Be good. The scammer called to explain this while I was about to start my workout at the gym. So when will you be free to see me? When will you officially announce us? Why do I feel so lonely even though I have a boyfriend? I choked up, finishing my words, and hung up. Dating requires a little drama, right? Because I hadn't exercised in a while, I quickly got sweaty and out of breath. My voice is naturally soft, I always sound like I'm whining. Listening to myself made me blush a bit now. Baby, what are you doing? The scammer's voice suddenly came through my earbuds. The once cool, deep tone now had this restrained raspiness in it. Only then did I realize the call had never ended. Meaning, he'd heard me panting for over 10 minutes. Thinking back on my previous unsatisfied remarks, my face turned beet red in seconds. He wouldn't have thought I was just explaining that I was working out, not doing something else in broad daylight. But in that moment, my brain just froze, and I ended up asking, does it sound good? Then, I heard his breathing get all fast on the other side. Later that night, I saw some entertainment news online about Simon messing up his scenes on set. Simon, who's always so proper and precise and never messes up, was messing up a lot today. His face stayed red, and his voice was so hoarse. Everyone in the comments was worried he might have a fever. I thought, it's gotta just be a coincidence. Like trying to make up for something, the scammer started showering me with gifts. Clothes, shoes, bags, jewelry, all sorts of goodies just kept coming like money really wasn't an object. Every time I picked up a package, I could feel my roommate Nancy's gaze on me, like she wanted to say something but didn't. I finally realized he wasn't trying to scam me out of a small amount. I called my mom right away. Did you tell Simon about the 2 downtown condos we have? My mom was probably playing mahjong and very relaxed. You're dating, right? Isn't telling Simon about our assets basic etiquette? Also, since your relationship isn't stable yet, make sure to keep your temper in check and don't scare him away. She clearly trusted and liked Simon. I could only imagine her devastation when she finds out the truth. I didn't expect those gifts to bring me trouble. One morning, I woke up to find Nancy standing by my bed, arms crossed, looking at me with a complex expression. I saw the Facebook you posted that night. Were all those gifts from your boyfriend? They weren't cheap. Is he rich? Nancy's eyes were filled with curiosity, with a bit of jealousy. If he's really rich, he must be old, right? Like, 50? 70? You didn't share any of his info on Facebook, so it seems like your relationship isn't proper. Are you his mistress? She suddenly leaned closer with a knowingly mocking look. Have you two slept together? I couldn't take it anymore. Are you nuts? Nancy laughed. Oh, Helen, you seem upset. Did I hit the mark? It's so sad. I'm Simon's girlfriend, and you're just his secret little fling. Don't worry, our 2 years as roommates mean something to me. I'll keep your secret. That same night, I saw a post about me on the school forum that was full of lies. A certain second-year grad student was knowingly a third party. Neighbors saw several different men over the past 10 days, all over 50. The post even included a screenshot of my announcement on Facebook and photos of the gifts. Surprising how Helen, who seems so sweet, is actually so scandalous. All mistresses should die. How can she even stomach a man over 50? This is where it gets interesting, folks. Her dad left when she was young, so maybe it's a daddy issue. I held back my anger and tagged Nancy in the forum. Hey, my dearest neighbor, why don't you tell everyone in detail? Exactly how many men did you see, and what did they look like? And why remember to take pictures of the gifts but not those so-called men? Nancy feigned innocence. What are you talking about, Helen? I didn't post this. You can't accuse me just because you're jealous that my boyfriend is younger than yours. But the topic soon went off track, which honestly might have been Nancy's intention. Wow, when did Nancy get a boyfriend? Weren't there rumors of Nancy getting involved in a film directed by someone in the entertainment industry? I actually know who her boyfriend is. He's a top star. To me, the only top star is Simon. No way. Of all the comments, Nancy just replied to this one, oh, my boyfriend doesn't want to go public yet. Then someone suddenly blurted, Simon just announced something. Everyone went wild. In a hot video, a host asked Simon what his ideal type was. He was as calm as ever, but there was a rare softness in his eyes. Oval face, black curly hair, a beauty mark on the nose. The host joked, you sound pretty specific. You must already have a girlfriend. Simon paused and then looked into the camera. Yes. When everyone tried to watch it again, Facebook crashed. The school forum exploded into debates. Didn't anyone notice that Simon's ideal type perfectly matches Nancy? Especially the beauty mark on the nose? That's totally Nancy. But, Helen matches too. What kind of connections does Helen really have? No way she's getting close to Simon. Don't forget, her boyfriend is supposedly some 50-year-old guy. So, Simon's girlfriend is definitely Nancy? Nancy actually confirmed it, yes. Suddenly, Nancy was the center of attention as Simon's girlfriend, while I became the homewrecker everyone despised. To make things worse, Nancy snatched my project away. In the office, I struggled to keep calm. This was a project I'd been working on for over a year with a senior. And Nancy had done nothing. But the school felt I was causing trouble. Simon is bringing his new charity film to our school, and we're planning to present Nancy as the charity ambassador. She needs this opportunity more than you do. Just bear with it for the school's sake. Nancy smirked, Helen, given the recent gossip, do you really think you're in the right mind to continue with this project? When I got home, my phone was bombarded with messages from the scammer. Did you see Facebook? I told you I'd announce it. I didn't mention your name because I wanted to protect your privacy. Helen, are you mad at me? Don't be mad, babe. It was all my fault for not thinking it through. Should I announce it again and tag you? Simon announcing it suddenly was a perfect opportunity for the scammer to take credit. I'd been bottling up anger all day, and now it's like I finally found a way to let it out. You're really annoying. It felt like the air went silent for a moment. Everything's because of him, clearly, he's just a liar. But seeing him silent and clueless, guilt surrounded me like a smoke bomb from all sides. I rubbed my forehead and sent a message, sorry. A lot happened today, and I'm in a bad mood. Going to sleep now. The liar instantly replied, okay, then sleep early, baby. Good night. But my screen still showed him typing. I thought about turning off my screen when he finally sent, let's meet up tomorrow. Honestly, I thought he'd keep avoiding meeting in person. And then make up an excuse about being seriously ill or dealing with some emergency to ask me for money, maybe sell my place. But he didn't. Could it be that he really has feelings for me? Or maybe he really is Simon? A mix of strange and complicated feelings bubbled up in my chest. I typed and retyped, "Are you really Simon?" on my phone, deleting each attempt. In the end, I just replied, okay. Even if he's fallen for me, it doesn't change that he's a liar. If he really is Simon, then he's not just a liar but also a two-timing jerk. He quickly sent a voice message. His voice was low, deep, with a hint of joyful laughter. See you tomorrow. I pretty much stayed up all night. The next day, sticking to my initial plan, I hired a strong, muscular guy for $200 to go meet him for me. Tell him you've been the one chatting with him all this time. Then I reported him to the police, blocked and deleted all of Simon's contacts. Around then, I got a message from the lease company that the contract issues were finally sorted, and I could move out. While packing, I got an anonymous email about Nancy. After reading it, it felt like karma coming full circle. Before I moved out, I had to send her a parting gift. A couple of days later, while doing an experiment, people started gossiping. Simon's at school today to promote a new charity microfilm. The school's taking it seriously, it's happening at the auditorium. Let's go see the star later. I heard Nancy's already the fixed charity ambassador. I thought, finally, a chance. The auditorium was packed when I arrived. Just the security keeping order at the entrance numbered over 100. As soon as I stepped in, I saw Simon up on stage answering questions from journalists. He was in a suit today, his tall, broad frame filling it perfectly. He had a composed, professional demeanor, the bright auditorium lights casting shadows on his face, making him seem even more unapproachable. With so many people, I got pushed around in the crowd until my senior shouted, "Helen." My eyes hadn't moved off Simon yet, and suddenly he turned to look, meeting my gaze. For a moment, a complex, hard-to-read emotion flashed in his eyes. Maybe even a hint of grievance? But just for a second, as journalists started asking questions again, he turned away, like I imagined it. Finally, the last segment came. The director and school officials announced they'd choose a student to be the charity ambassador right there. Even though Nancy was pre-selected, the director joked, "Any volunteers among the students here?" Amidst the anticipation, Nancy stood, shy yet confident. "I think I'm a good fit." The director nodded, satisfied. "Anyone else?" As if by design, a push came from behind, thrusting me out from the corner. All eyes turned to me, including that icy gaze. Helen? Seriously? After all the rumors, she still dares compete against Nancy for the ambassador role? Does she even have a clue? The director seemed surprised someone actually stood up and threw the decision to Simon. Both look suitable. I'm having trouble deciding. How about it, Simon? Since you're the lead in the film, you pick for us. Simon responded with a mild answer, then walked towards us. Flashes surrounded us, blinding me almost. No guessing needed, Simon would pick Nancy, she's his girlfriend. Wait, am I out of touch? Simon only announced he was dating, didn't say who it was. Girl, check the forums. Nancy already admitted it, it's all over the place. Yeah, it's all dug up. Paparazzi caught Simon meeting a mystery girl, that was Nancy. With excitement and curiosity, everyone watched as Simon stepped toward Nancy. Nancy seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, her discomfort fading, throwing a smug glance my way. But Simon told Nancy, "You're not suitable. We don't need a charity ambassador who manipulates public opinion, spreads slander about other students, and unfairly seizes project opportunities from others." Silence. Surprised looks exchanged. Nancy's face turned pale immediately. What's going on? Aren't they supposed to be a couple? Simon coldly glanced around, resting his eyes on me for a moment before speaking. Miss Zhao and I have no relation whatsoever. I stared dumbfounded. My mind was a mess, my heart was about to burst out. Could the scammer really be Simon, and Simon the one I've been talking to for a month? What rumors and project trouble? Could you break it down? Sure, let me explain. I took a breath, pulling out the printed anonymous email from my bag. It's a letter of assurance to the primary partner. Promising to keep a distance from XXX, to no longer disrupt her family, and to return any received jewelry and gifts. If failed, she'll go public, and let her career be ruined. Signed by Nancy. Though anonymous, it's clear the primary partner sent it to me. Lately, everyone on the forum has been rallying behind Nancy. There's no way her ex won't try to make things hard for her. It's all because they saw I had issues with Nancy and wanted to use me to expose her. I got the forum admins to track down the IP, and it turns out the person making anonymous posts was Nancy herself. She spread rumors about me, but she was actually the one ruining relationships. She kept steering public opinion, buttered up the school authorities, and even snatched away a project from me that I'd been working on for over a year. Everyone was shocked. Oh my God, I was being used. She's such a backstabber, spreading lies and bribing people. How vicious can someone be? I can't believe I ever followed her account. I'm unfollowing right now. Not only that, I'm gonna leave negative reviews on the products she endorses, so brands will never dare to use her again. Nancy's eyes were red and frantic as she tried to get over here, but Simon motioned the security to stop her. This is fake. Fake. It's all 'cause you're jealous of me, so you forged a document to frame me. I calmly replied, it's in black and white with your fingerprints and ID copy. We can get an expert to examine if it's fake. Nancy's face turned pale as she glared at me with hatred. Helen, even if I'm the other woman, you're not any better. You always skimp on stuff, couldn't even buy a branded bag, but now you've got high-end deliveries coming in non-stop. Isn't that from a man? You're in a normal relationship, so why can't you say who your boyfriend is? Helen, you can't clear your name by dragging me down. Unless you say who that man is, you'll remain the other woman. I looked around, seeing people's whispers and judgmental stares coming my way. Someone couldn't help but say, Helen, just tell us. But before I could speak, a clear voice echoed in the hall. It's me. The room fell silent, and then erupted into chaos. Everyone turned to Simon. I was stunned, like a blow to the head. Nancy's eyes widened in disbelief. How can you be her boyfriend? But Simon didn't continue with the topic, ignoring the shocked looks and without glancing at me once, said he had to leave. The director quickly said, since Nancy doesn't meet the criteria, Helen will be our goodwill ambassador. Today's event ends here, and we hope you'll continue to support our movie. I watched Simon being escorted away by security, dazed. Was he mad? I don't know how I feel, just this heaviness in my chest. Then I saw Simon stop at the door, turn to look at me calmly, and say, follow me. The social media buzzed. Simon reveals girlfriend's identity, Helen. Simon confidently leaves with his girlfriend. And some folks dug up Simon's alternate account from my official Facebook announcement. Over the river and through the woods, OMG, this is so sweet. Simon's alternate account had just one Facebook post in half a year, the one linked to my official announcement. Gosh, this is too much. Sitting in Simon's car, my phone kept buzzing, and my heart was racing. Oh, you hid this well. Tell us, what's going on with the movie star? Have you kissed? I accidentally opened a voice message, and my friend Tina's teasing voice came out from my phone. I felt a gaze on me in the car. I hurriedly stopped it and shot a quick glance at Simon. He had his head slightly turned towards the window, like he was quietly watching the scenery. I pouted. Guys, always pretending not to care, when he was clearly sneaking peeks at me. Then Tina texted, but Helen, I gotta warn ya, Simon might be into guys. And with a specific taste. Tina, my cousins in paparazzi, caught Simon on a date with a buff dude. Candle at dinner, nice wine, and Simon looked like he was accepting an award. That guy even tried to kiss Simon. I was almost seeing red. Tina, but then the cops stopped it. I breathed a sigh of relief and glanced at Simon in shock, typing, "Actually, it's a misunderstanding." Then I briefly explained the situation to Tina. "So this movie star's all in for you, while you just treated him like a scam artist? Then you paid $200 to set him up with a buff dude and he almost got taken advantage of? Honestly, if I were Simon, I'd have dumped you already." Tina sent an exasperated emoji. We looked into it later. That buff dude was a fervent fan of Simon's. Good thing you thought to call the cops. I could hardly lift my head in guilt. Back then Nancy showed me so many texts, swearing Simon was her boyfriend. Plus, you know the kind of guys my mom set me up with. One even claimed to be the first emperor of China, asking me for $1 million to build a time machine to unify the kingdoms. A stream of ha-ha-has from Tina filled my screen. I wanted to type more when the car suddenly jerked, throwing me off balance and into a solid thud. I slowly looked over, meeting a pair of jet black eyes. I froze, my hand instinctively clutching, which pulled something. I heard a button pop, rolling onto the car seat. Simon frowned slightly, seemed like he was about to say something, but the car bumped again, landing me straight onto his chest. I caught a whiff of a fresh, crisp scent. Like half-melted frost on a winter day or a cool spring flowing through a summer mountain. My phone kept ringing like crazy, but I was lost in Simon's arms. Then, a slender hand suddenly pressed on my shoulder. Simon pushed me out of his embrace. "You okay?" His tone was cold and distant. I could see he was still upset and wanted to clear things up right away. I explained everything again, admitting my mistake sincerely. "I'm sorry, I really know I was wrong." Simon looked at me quietly and then suddenly smiled. "What exactly did you do wrong?" "I shouldn't have thought you were a scammer," I admitted. "And also," I mumbled, "I shouldn't have paid someone to meet you. You must have been really looking forward to that day." "And then?" he pressed. I hesitated. "And also." Simon just kept watching me, heavy and still. I finally noticed that his smile didn't reach his eyes. "Helen," he said. "Being cautious isn't wrong. Neither is being on alert for scammers, hiring someone to go in my place, or even calling the police. If I had been a scammer, this would be a great example for an anti-fraud campaign. Your only mistake was that under the pretense of not knowing the person was a scammer, you spoke about overly personal topics to win their trust. And even more so, you did things over the phone in front of them that you shouldn't have." I suddenly thought of that time I was out of breath after running, and Simon misunderstood. Without thinking, I blurted out, "Are you jealous of yourself?" Simon froze for a moment but stayed silent. He avoided my gaze, sounding a bit stiff. "This isn't about jealousy." But I felt like I'd found the key to solving everything. "You are jealous. Simon, you're jealous of yourself." I noticed the hint of red creeping up his ears and was both surprised and relieved. Simon wasn't upset about how I treated him like a scammer for a month or that I'd skipped out on the carefully planned date. He was upset that in the process of outwitting a scammer, I hadn't protected myself. I tried to genuinely explain, "Simon, you have to believe me. I really was running that day, and I really thought I'd hung up." Simon turned his head away, his eyes clearly saying two words, "Don't believe." I declared, "I swear, if I'm lying." "Enough. No need to swear." "I believe you," Simon interrupted me, his eyes dark and emotion stormy, only to settle into sadness. "Helen, do you really not see the problem between us?" I felt a wave of panic and instinctively reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "Helen, you don't even remember me." As he said that, I lunged forward and kissed him. After just a few seconds, he jerked his head away. "When I was genuinely in love with you, he said softly, all you saw was a scammer. I leaned in and kissed him again. Pinned to the back seat, I held Simon's head, my hands moving up, fingers tightening in his hair, making him wince and raise his chin into the kiss. My tongue felt numb, but I kissed him eagerly, our hot, breathy gasps filling the small space. Then, a tear fell between our lips. I stiffened and saw Simon's slightly reddish eyes. He whispered, Helen, you never really liked me. Simon dropped me off at home and left without another word. I sat on the couch, heart racing and throat dry. Tina texted, asking how it went. I wiped away my tears and replied, I don't know. Tina texted back, okay, let me ask it this way. Did he say he never wants to see you again? I brightened up, I don't think he did. Tina kept going gently, and did he block you? I paused for a second and silently unblocked Simon before typing, no. See? He doesn't want to break up with you. It's not that hard to cheer up a guy, especially one who's head over heels for you. I sent Tina a 200 reward. You just need to show him your true heart. I felt like I was solving a complicated math problem. Eager for advice, I typed back, will it work if I just show him my true heart? Of course. Simon's scared you never liked him, so just be honest and let him see how much you care. I finally got it. In the next second, I texted Simon, I really like you. Simon almost instantly replied with a then, don't believe. I was overwhelmed by a sense of helplessness. I sent a screenshot of the conversation to Tina, what do I do? He doesn't believe me. After that, none of my messages to Tina got a response. I couldn't help but wonder if she just wanted my $200. Ugh, I guess I have to rely on myself. For the next week, the first thing I did in the morning was text Simon, I really like you. It only took a week for him to go from not believing me to saying, Helen, do you even know how to like someone? That evening, I texted Simon to say I was moving and it sucked being alone when suddenly the door opened. Nancy was back. A while ago, she'd been expelled for misconduct and bribery, and I hadn't seen her in a long time. Now, she was wearing heavy makeup that hid her features and had golden waves of hair, almost like she was in disguise. I noticed some bruises around her neck poorly concealed with foundation. Did someone hit you? Nancy quickly covered her neck with her hand, looking uneasy. None of your business. I shrugged and grabbed my suitcase, about to leave. But Nancy called out to me. Don't you want to know why I turned on you all of a sudden? I turned and said, you just got a taste of fame and got cocky, right? Nancy stared at me for a long time before giving a bitter smile. Of course not. She asked, do you remember Steve? I frowned, trying hard to recall. Finally, a memory clicked. This guy seemed to be the class president back in my high school days. In my mind, Steve was like a gentle breeze, kind of like Simon. I suddenly had a vivid flashback. It was a hot summer afternoon, and the broken AC made the classroom unbearably stifling. I was dozing off on my books when I felt a cool breeze. I opened my eyes, half asleep, to see a calm-eyed boy fanning me. After the college entrance exams, Steve confessed to me, but I turned him down. In college, I had a boyfriend who was my first love, someone I really loved. But no matter how hard I tried to please him, he was always cold to me. The only affectionate thing he ever did was kiss the mole on my nose. Nancy stopped speaking and fixed her gaze on my nose. I got it. Damn, Steve was pulling a bait and switch. Later, within 3 months, he dumped me. Nancy looked down. After becoming a streamer, I wanted to buy more brand names to present myself better. But I got tricked online into signing a loan agreement. There was this top supporter, about 50 years old, who offered to pay it off if I'd be his girl. Turned out, his wife found out. She forced me to sign a guarantee note and demanded all the money back. Later, I met a con artist who pretended to be Simon. Of course, he wasn't the real Simon. They were a scam ring. All those chats I showed you were with that imposter. But I was really foolish, maybe just desperate enough to believe him. I thought, if I could become the girlfriend of a big star like Simon, would I still be struggling for money? 2 months ago, I got scammed out of nearly all my savings. That was the same day I saw your high school grad photo. So, you were the first crush Steve couldn't forget. I felt a little helpless. I never liked him. Nancy rolled her eyes at me, as if to say otherwise he wouldn't be so hung up on you. Isn't it typical? Guys always want what they can't have. I clenched my fists and asked, 2 months ago you got scammed. Before that, you kept it quiet, so why suddenly last month tell me you're Simon's girlfriend? Nancy went silent. Her gaze drifted over my face before saying, well, because I discovered you liked him. I was stunned. I found a diary in your room. Who even keeps a diary these days? Nancy gave a little snort. In your diary you wrote, back in sophomore year, your mom fell seriously ill. You had to care for her while prepping for grad school exams. The stress almost led you to depression, but Simon's films helped you pull through. Eventually, you started to follow him closely. You would always go out of your way to see his movies, even renting out entire screenings. You watched all his interviews repeatedly. Gradually, you noticed your feelings for him went beyond just being a fan. Helen, you fell in love with someone distant, untouchable. You went through college without dating, and even in grad school, you couldn't bring yourself to like anyone other than Simon. Nancy stared right at me. With nothing left to lose, I couldn't let you have it easy. So, I purposely bragged that Simon was my boyfriend, deliberately arranged to know his whereabouts, and orchestrated fake encounters to get snapped by paparazzi. Time after time, I told you how great Simon was to me. You cried a lot that night, didn't you? I specially leaned on your door just to eavesdrop for hours. But I didn't expect. Nancy's eyes turned dark. You went off and started dating someone. You easily let go of Simon, making all my efforts pointless. Then I started rumors about you being the side chick, got another top supporter to use his money to bribe your boss, and took away a project you worked on for a year. I interrupted her, and your injuries today, did his wife beat you? Nancy paused, neither admitting nor denying it. But I never expected the person you started dating would actually be Simon. How do you always get so lucky, Helen? Steve liked you, Simon loves you. Nancy's voice broke with envy and exhaustion. Her eyes were red and full of resentment. And me, I'm like a bug in the gutters. Nobody cares about me. Everything I do seems wrong. But Nancy, I never wronged you. I looked at her calmly. You love singing and streaming, and you've grown popular. You've got lots of fans. You said you started investing in your image for the fans, but does dressing fancy really make such a big difference to them? It seems you were satisfying your own vanity. You gave in to your desires, let them run wild, and when they backfired, you blamed fate. Every path you've taken was your choice. Everyone has to live with the consequences of their choices. Nancy kept her head down, shoulders shaking slightly. I stopped looking at her and opened the door. And there, right outside, not knowing how long he'd been there, was Simon. I got into Simon's car in a daze, sat quietly the whole ride, and somehow ended up at Simon's house. Wait, Simon's house? It wasn't until Simon closed the door, took off his watch, and tilted my chin up to kiss me that it hit me. Why were you at my door earlier? Simon wrapped an arm around my waist and tucked my slightly messy hair behind my ear. I happened to be nearby when I got the news you were moving alone. I picked up on his emphasis, feeling like maybe I wasn't imagining things. Why were you nearby? Because you wanted to see me too, right? Surprisingly, Simon admitted it. Baby, I missed you a lot. I held my breath, looking at Simon up close, his eyes dark and heated, undeniably wanting. You heard everything. Simon warmed his hands and cupped my face gently. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I protested. I did tell you every day. Simon paused for a couple of seconds, then leaned down, brushing his lips against mine. I shouldn't have doubted you, he said sincerely. He was so earnest that I felt a bit embarrassed. I did think about telling you, but back then, I had just realized you weren't a scammer. You seemed so mad at me. I was scared to death and forgot all about mentioning it. Later, when I did want to tell you, I didn't know how to bring it up. Why couldn't you bring it up? Avoiding his gaze, I felt a bit foolish. It's just this weird competitive thing. I've liked you for 4 years, and you've only liked me for 6 months. I think it's because I liked you so much that even when I thought you were a scammer, I still went out with you for a month. He steadied my face, a smile tugging at the corners of his lips. Who said I've only liked you for 6 months? Surprised, I looked at him, realization dawning, my heartbeat pounding loudly. You were only 11 back then. He replied calmly, and you were even younger, saying you wanted to be my wife when you grew up. Did I? I blatantly denied it. I can't remember anything from before I turned 10. Simon squinted his eyes playfully. Really? I rubbed my nose, unable to completely lie with a straight face. This past week, I haven't just sent I like you texts to Simon. I asked my mom for Mary's contact info and learned a lot about Simon and my childhood. After Dad passed away, leaving a mess of his business and home for Mom, she was overwhelmed and often left me at the neighbor's, Simon's place. Once, she didn't come to get me for 3 months. I practically grew up with Simon. Simon was really good to me, helped me with my homework, taught me piano, and waited for me after school to make sure no one bullied me. I even told Mary, Simon's so great. Maybe one day, I'll be your daughter-in-law. Simon was there, acting indifferent, but his ears turned bright red. When Simon heard the story, he chuckled. Actually, I wasn't always nice to you. I was kind of cold. Did Mary get it wrong? Because back then, my mom was so sad for you and cared for you more than her own son. I dryly said, oh. Until my birthday, he continued. Mom took us to an amusement park. It was crowded, and you got lost. The security found you at a vendor's stall, picking up rings for a game. Rings? Simon nodded. You wanted a pretty teacup, but couldn't win it. You ran out of money but wouldn't leave. The vendor had you fetch rings people tossed during the game. If you did it until closing time, he'd give you the teacup. We found you, and you still wouldn't leave. My mom scolded you for the first time, saying you were being childish, offering to buy it for you. But you were stubborn about doing it yourself. On the way back, you clutched the teacup, leaned against my shoulder, mumbling. You said your dislike for me wasn't just because I took some of your mom's attention. It was also over a stray cat I brought home, which broke your late grandma's favorite teacup. You wanted me to replace it, but you were upset because I had everything from my parents. That day you insisted on buying another cup yourself. You took my hand and placed the teacup in it, softly asking if I could stop disliking you. Simon's recount seemed to dredge up those distant memories, turning the blur into something clear. That once cold, quiet teen had softened. He patted my head and said, "All right, I won't hate you anymore. Do you remember now?" I nodded, memories mixing with reality, emotions swirling inside until tears suddenly fell. Half a year ago when you said you'd seen me, what did you mean? Simon gently wiped the tears from my flushed cheeks. I was avoiding paparazzi and saw you trying on high heels at a store. You argued with your friend, and she left. You dashed out after her, leaving the shoes behind. Outside, you both smiled, and she apologized for making you act to afford the heels. You shrugged it off and pointed at a teacup stand, joking that she could buy you one of those instead. Did I recognize you because of the teacup? Simon smiled warmly. Not just that. I've seen your pictures. You grew up exactly as I imagined you would. Embarrassed, I giggled and suddenly remembered Simon's friend Tina. I quickly messaged her, "Safely arrived, don't worry." Tina replied right away, "I'm at your new place, cleaning up." "Where are you?" I guiltily admitted, "At my boyfriend's." "You better be taking precautions." Then she stopped responding to any more messages. I stared dumbfounded at the screen, my heart racing and breath short. "What are you thinking about?" Speaking without thinking, I blurted, if you know, have any of those? Realizing, my face burned, stammering, I didn't mean. But Simon calmly replied, I do. Stunned, I found myself retreating slightly from his intense gaze. I couldn't move far before Simon caught my waist, gently laying me on the bed. His lips touched mine softly, dizzying my senses. I wrapped my arms around his neck, lifting my head a bit to kiss back. In the end, he softly asked me, Babe, you really ready? My cheeks fiery, eyes bright, I whispered back hoarsely, remember what you said we'd do when we met? Simon chuckled, his lips near my ear, repeating slowly, by then, anything you want, measuring my waist, whatever it is, we'll do it. Late into the night, I was shielding myself, blocking him from touching me further. Simon coaxed gently, Sweetheart, there are still people waiting to take the elevator. Don't slack off. Half asleep, I whimpered, no more. Simon kissed my ear, ignoring my protests. The night was long.